पॉलिसी बाजार पर 1 करोड़ रुपए का टर्म लाइफ इंश्योरेंस केवल 450 रुपए महीने से शुरू। वाह!
Greetings and welcome. The most exciting thing to happen at this time. Forget your FIFA. By the way, the two guests joining me also don't care about it. I do, but forget FIFA, forget politics, forget sports. This is the place to be. Welcome to the Gadget 360 year-end special. This is where we actually decipher it all. The best, the worst, each category, what does the future entail, all of it. And two very, very special guests with me today, the gurus of tech. Gaurav Chaudhary, Technical Guruji. Welcome Gaurav. Thank you so much for joining us. I always wanted you to come onto this show and finally आज वो भी बात हो गई. And हम लोग सबके गुरु Nishant Padhiar. Thank you so much for joining us. Wonderful having the two of you. आज तो he's doing वाह. You know, very nice.
गुरुजी के साथ में हूँ मैं तो संगत में.
बिल्कुल गुरुओं की संगत. But gentlemen, I'm going to just climb right into it because people are here to get what we want to talk about. Very interesting format today. We're going to talk of headlines of 2022. Then we'll go into categories. We'll talk about the best and the worst gadgets. I'm starting off with you, Gaurav. According to you, the tech headline of 2022 was?
I mean, see, in tech we have a new headline every day. But if you talk about the headline of the year, I would say that's the arrival of 5G in India.
Okay.
I mean, we have been seeing 5G phones like since almost last 3 years now. But finally, you know, like to be able to use those phones and to enjoy 5G, I think that's the big news.
No, I think absolutely, I completely agree. India mein to I think that has been the headline and it will continue to be because as people discover it. All right, Nishant, what about you? What's your tech headline of 2022?
NFT, undoubtedly NFT, because everybody and their CFOs wanted to have an NFT out in the market. And I think I'm a bit on the fence regarding whether I am interested in it or I'm just curious and completely flabbergasted because well, it's sort of like what Elon is doing to Twitter, right? It can only go one way or the other. There's no middle path. So NFT for me was the biggest headline.
So we haven't reached tech scams as yet, but you've already started talking about it, right? So NFTs for you is the headline.
I'm not alluding to the fact that it's a scam, Rajiv. I'm not implying it's a scam, but it's just my limited knowledge of this format. But the fact that it's taken over the entire world and the corporate system and even the crypto art industry itself, I think is fascinating to learn and deep dive into.
Okay, so I absolutely agree with both of you. Fantastic headlines. I'll just add one or two more that I think one you've already spoken about, Elon Musk and Twitter. I think it made a headline a day and maybe 40 tweet headlines a day, continues to do so. I'm just wondering kahan jayega ye. Number two, I think, is things like, you know, the things that got taken away from us. जैसे कि मोबाइल फोन में से 3.5 mm हेडफोन जैक गया, फिर चार्जर भी चला गया, पता नहीं नेक्स्ट स्क्रीन जाएगा, बैटरी जाएगा. Those jokes continue about it. And I think the other one is also the amount of layoffs in the tech industry. Everything was like, you know, everything was hunky-dory, every day 20,000, 10,000. So those are the headlines. Let's start off with the first category for today, and that is smartwatches. First of all, I'm going to just throw this out at you. Smartwatches, after maturity over the last 5 years, that sawal keeps coming to everybody. Is there a final answer? Do we need smartwatches or are they just an accessory and extension of our phones?
I mean, see, it depends. If you have to replace your normal watch, okay, you can see the time, you can, you know, use it like a normal watch. Plus, if you are specific, you know, like if you know ki kya karna hai aapko usse, then definitely there are multiple options in the market. And the best part is that the price that, you know, once used to be like upwards of 20, 30, 40,000 rupees, now like 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, we have some options. So I think the market has...
And these are not compromised options.
Yeah.
I think 2-3 saal pehle, the watch which will be 20, 30,000, you can buy a watch with the same feature set now.
Kind of a similar option.
Almost. Yeah. I mean, at least the functionality you'll get. I mean, SpO2 sensor and everything else, you're getting in a 2-3,000. The democratization of smartwatches, I think, is another big thing out there, right? So, okay. Nishant, what's your thought on smartwatches? Anything that really stood out in 2022?
Well, apart from just the iterations, I think what it's bringing to the market and to consumers is a sense of personality. So even in my own friend circle and people who call us usually it's not about, the kind of features they're looking for in a smartwatch. They are actually buying it from a fashion statement point of view because the straps are easy to swap around. You can personalize the dials. So it can actually match your occasion if you're going out somewhere, if you're in the gym. It just, I think, changes according to your personality multiple times a day. So I think it's become more of a fashion statement than actually what it can do for you.
Okay, fantastic. So now I'm going to put you on the spot, Nishant. Smart watch of the year, one. It could be anything. It could be 1,000, 1,500 rupee one because it just brings it to the masses, or maybe a 90,000 rupee one.
89,900.
I tend to swing. I tend to swing to the other side of the spectrum. So I think for me it's the Watch Ultra because I think it's just a fantastic feat of trying to miniaturize the tech into something so small and give something as dramatic, which could be, well, Apple says it's life-saving, but even on a day-to-day basis, things like SOS calling, crash detection, even the siren, all those things, I think deep dive computer, all those things which I'm never going to use, but I'm pretty sure that there is a use case scenario for.
Yeah, I was about to ask you, between the car
adventurers out
crash,
there.
the deep sea diving and the siren, which one have you used?
Yeah, that use case scenario hasn't occurred yet, thankfully.
Should not occur, actually.
Got a smartwatch of the year.
Watch Ultra.
Achha, okay, so these guys are pretty much ultraing themselves.
But I mean, I didn't like I liked it, but not for all the occasions. If you look at the Alpine Loop, the Ocean Loop, and all
That's
those
why you've
brands.
gone with a.
So I got a
the
like
link.
aftermarket link,
Link.
and looks fantastic. Kya baat?
So now, Nishant, throwing it out there, do a prediction for smartwatches in 2023 in terms of a feature, and then a smartwatch that you're really excited about that will come out in 2023.
Well, I guess the only thing that I would really want, because I've been using smartwatches for like almost 7-8 years now, and the biggest pain point is still the battery life. You still have to charge them overnight, maybe exception of the Watch Ultra and Garmin's if you're used to using Garmin's. But for everyday smartwatch, I think just the battery life would be the biggest update I'm hoping for personally.
I'm almost thinking कि 2015 में हम लोग वापस पहुंच गए, and smartphones के used to say, what do you think will come next year? Battery, if it could only improve. So I think they solved that. Can they do it in 2023 for smartwatches? I think I'm completely with you. What about you? A feature you're looking for?
I mean, see, it's not about feature I'm looking for. It's about what's going to happen, and more brands would want to be like this one.
Okay, so this
For
form factor,
sure, yeah.
this overall look and feel.
I mean, like something made for the wild. I mean, talk about crash detection, SOS.
It's like वो सारे लोग that buy an SUV and never go off-roading. It's for
Kind
all
of.
that market,
Kind of,
right?
yeah.
Okay, so Nishant, now I'm pinning you down on this one. A watch that you think will be a game changer in 2023. Don't say Ultra 2.
Not Ultra 2, but I think Apple is going to trickle down the technology from the Watch Ultra into their mainstream series of watches, and I think that should be interesting, especially when it comes down to the price point of, say, the Watch SE. Again, I'm speaking hypothetically, but if some of those features even trickle down to a Watch SE, which has a great family plan, so especially if you want to put a smartwatch on your children, not to track them like pets, but just to be from the safety point of view. Yeah, so I think that's going to be something to look out for.
I'm actually shocked that Apple doesn't put that as the first feature, to track your children. I mean, that is the primary reason people are buying that watch. It should be the first feature they should put on the box. Yeah. And he's saying not for tracking children. I don't know anybody who's bought it who's not tracking their children. Especially the 18-year-old.
I was trying to be politically correct.
Okay, let's move on now to another category, a very interesting one that in the pandemic became the hottest category, tablets. People started buying it for their children. They're very good for education, big screen, kuch padhne ko dikh raha tha us pe and everything else, great for work from home. Kind of has changed, but I think in tablets, the thing that I feel has become a very big thing is that earlier it used to be, okay, if you want to buy a tablet, iPad, and if not, then maybe a Samsung, right? But now Android tablets, the strength of what? Under 20,000 rupees, 15,000 rupees, great screens, pretty good battery life. What do you think about the tablet market? What do you think was the big headliner for you, according to you, in the tablet market in 2022?
I mean, see, the inclusion of the new M chips in the iPad is on the one side. That's like given. Although, I mean, software you can't, have the full potential as a Mac OS, but
Correct.
still, I mean, pretty powerful hardware. Android, we have seen good hardware, but where it lacks is the software.
वो तो है, मतलब
Yeah.
it's just a big phone.
Yeah.
That's all. And they really need to do something about it, hopefully in 2023. Nishant, what stood out for you in the tablet market?
Well, Google was trying to work on the 12L operating system, which is optimized from the ground up for larger screens, but unfortunately, only Samsung seems to be using it right now. In terms of tablet selection, I think even for Android, it's been a fantastic year because, in fact, just recently I had my hands on the Lenovo Tab P11 Pro,
Right.
and for under 40,000, it has an OLED screen, great specs, great for consuming data, and great for kids, like you said, who were stuck at home during the pandemic, having to take their classes online. So I think, like Gaurav said, iPads are in their own rarefied field. And a person who wants to buy an iPad or has an Apple ecosystem, you can't go wrong, right? In terms of app support also, of course, everybody's first choice is the iPad. But if you want anything under 40,000, I think the Tab P11 Pro, even the Xiaomi Pad 5 was great. And they've really optimized the OS, again, keeping the tablet form factor in mind. Great stylus. So there have been innovations on the Android side, but again, I think people default to Apple because it just becomes synonymous with tablets.
I mean,
Right.
what I have seen changed is, like earlier if you used to, spend like 10, 15, 20,000 rupees for a tablet, you would get crap. But now that has changed.
No, absolutely.
Like in
I think
15, 18, 20,000 rupees, you will get good options.
great option.
Yeah.
The hardware is absolutely fantastic. Just that, as Nishant also said, you're also saying, the software really needs to catch up. There has to be a reason for it.
Yeah.
But now, Gaurav, I'm putting you. Last time was Nishant, this time it's you. Do you think that in 2023 could be again the downfall of tablets because people are again starting to realize जो pre-pandemic में था, that same situation, that between a phone and a laptop, I can't live without both. That's now for sure established.
Yeah.
Why do I need a tablet? A lot of people have started to ask that question again. You think this could be a year into that things don't go well for tablets?
I mean, kind of makes sense.
Do you use one?
I have. I mean, I was using
कौन से
the...
drawer में पड़ा हुआ है 2 महीने से?
No, so what I was doing was I was using the highest end MacBook, the iPad Pro and my phone, of course. But now I've switched to a M2 MacBook and an iPad mini.
Oh,
Because,
so
yeah.
see again, so you also made that change,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because you're not really finding anything really. Nishant, have you also started getting this feeling that again the tablet market may wane? I mean, we've already seen numbers wane in the second half of 2022.
Yeah. I'm sure all of us get this query from people who know us that which one should I buy, a MacBook or an iPad Pro? And I think over the years, as I've reviewed more and more iPads and more Macs, I've realized that at least for Apple, I'm not talking about the Android ecosystem, but at least for Apple, there is a very clear strategy. They do not want to cannibalize either or. So iPad is going to have its very own trajectory, and so is the Mac, which is why we never ever see some of the features that should be so much on the iPad, which are on the Mac, not blending or fusing together. So Apple is very clear about that. iPad is for a different kind of consumer. Mac is for a different kind of consumer. They won't blend ever.
Okay, sounds good. So one prediction for tablets in 2023. Nishant.
Well, again, I think screens are going to get much better. So I think the OLED is going to become a norm, either OLED or mini LED. Apart from that, I think, like you also said, in terms of development and just interesting features, it's stagnating a bit. I don't think they can add anything more besides making better cameras, front-facing cameras, at least getting the cameras on the right side, even if not better resolution. I think that could be a big win.
Especially in Pro models, if they could get the camera on the right side, right? I mean, they've done it for the
Yeah,
base
that would
model,
be a
but
big
not in
win.
the Pro one. Right. Okay. Prediction, Gaurav.
Not a prediction, but a wish.
Okay,
I mean,
yeah.
and I know for sure it's not happening next year.
Okay.
But maybe foldable tablets.
Oh, okay. All right.
Could be a thing.
I got some news that CES where they're showing prototypes of foldable tablets, so you may just get your wish this time. So that could be quite interesting. I mean, I find that to be, I don't know why laptop folding came before tablets folding
Exactly,
came. It
yeah.
actually makes far more sense for a
Should be the other
tablet
way
to
around,
fold,
yeah.
right? So imagine if you go from about a 5.5 to almost a 9 or a 11, that starts to make a lot more sense. Okay, let's move on to cameras. Now, I think this is a interesting space to talk about because the points of discussion are so many out here, right? Standalone cameras starting to get even worse hit now because on one side, DSLRs got hit because of mirrorless cameras becoming so much better. Smartphone cameras have always been improving. The Vivos and the Apples of the world have just been doing too much good stuff around that. So lots of things to talk about in cameras, but I'll start off with you, Gaurav, on this one. Do you think, well, aa gaya wo time that, standalone cameras, other than content creators, almost no one is really going to be buying them? And that also mainly for video?
I mean, kind of makes sense, because, smartphone cameras, there was a differentiation, years ago. But now they are like almost neck to neck.
Right.
And like, if you know what you're doing, you can get some amazing stuff done.
Absolutely.
So, point and shoot is already obsolete. It's gone. And even for kind of, proper cameras, unless you are a pro and you really need that, I don't think there's a need for, someone to buy that camera.
Yeah, because I saw a very interesting statistic, Nishant, that most of the absolutely non-top, the absolute professional, too expensive one, most of the other cameras which are, let's say 70,000 to 2 to 3 lakh rupees are all being bought only for video by content creators, predominantly. So Nishant, start of the end for DSLR, standalone, or is this again one of those years where we'll say it but they'll still survive?
Well, it is. I think it has been on the decline for a few years now. It's not already there because the way I see it, and I completely agree with Gaurav, is that only the pros and the extreme enthusiasts and the hobbyists are actually buying standalone cameras, like Leica, for example. Which is probably one of the world's oldest and the most hallowed camera brands. They recently launched an M6, which is a film camera in 2022. The last time they made a film camera was 2002, I think, 20 years ago. So I think niche industries and niche enthusiasts will always, have that appetite to buy something just before it becomes obsolete for real. But otherwise, I think for everybody else, smartphone cameras are really not even catching up. I think they far exceeded what you can do with the point and shoot entry level DSLR.
Okay, so Nishant, tell me a prediction for smartphone cameras in 2023.
I really wish, again, it's not a prediction, but again, it's a wish, like Gaurav used the word. I would like to see retractable cameras as well, because that is really going to take the optics to a different level. You can only do so much with periscope zooms and digital zooms. I really want to have a much better zoom capability on smartphones. And that can, I think, only happen, apart from computational, with proper physical optics and retractable optics, which I think already a Chinese brand has shown a couple of days back, might have the answer.
Yeah, but that's an add-on. It's still not a retractable. That's like a lens ring. But a retractable you have to defy physics to actually put it into a phone. The thinner they become, the retractable mechanism becomes almost impossible. So you either go with one or the other. Yeah. Frankly speaking, if I may, and Xiaomi don't hate me for it, a smartphone with a camera ring, I think is just great for publicity. I just don't see the practicality of...
Not again for everyone, no?
I still think that if you put it all together, it's a very impractical thing, and phones are for everybody. That's the problem, right? Will a professional photographer buy a smartphone to do professional photography with a lens? I'm just seeing that it's great for publicity, a great brand builder, but I'm not seeing it. Prediction for smartphone cameras for 2023 or a wish?
I'll again put like both, a prediction and a wish. Prediction would be, I think, more and more 1-inch sensors in smartphones.
Okay, that should become a standard.
That would be one. Wish is for brands to remove those crappy 2+2, just to increase the total camera count. What's the point?
Stop it, brands. We've said it here. I know every brand you're watching the show. Band kar do. Nahi chahiye kisi ko. Hamari reviews bhi easy ho jayenge, where we will not use that one sentence. I'm not reviewing the 2 megapixel because there's no use. So it'll save our ek sentence bach jayega hamari scripting mein bhi, right? Okay, so this is lots and lots of things to do in show 2. But right now I'm going to close on maybe the most touchy topic that we do, and that is worst technology or gadgets of 2022. So Gaurav, I'm going to start off with you.
I'll just put one, and it is the Geo book.
Okay.
I had expectations that, we'll, at least see a functional laptop that at least, delivers something. But it was, like if you have experienced it.
Okay.
So it was a disaster.
With Geo, I think the part that I like is कि उनका पहला वाला जितना भी खराब हो, they really catch up with the second one.
They do, but then I mean, I feel for the the initial buyers,
Yeah,
you know,
the
like
euphoria was
just,
so high,
yeah.
or this price point where people got very, very excited. So you would say that that's been one of the, and one tech that you had a lot of expectations or wish in 2022 that did not live up.
I mean, I was expecting for the Fold to have inbuilt S Pen, you know, all those things, but it was quite similar to the Fold 3.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. So you were expecting a lot more with the
Yeah.
Fold 3. Because third generation, mature technology, they could have played with more innovation. Okay, Nishant, a gadget that you think is, you know, Geo book ko chhod ke, other than that, anything else that you thought really did not live up to expectations, and a technology that just did not live up to expectations?
Well, a gadget that really surprised me, you know, by just its mere existence and the fact that the follow through was the Dyson Zone. I mean, I know it's not out yet, but the fact that they've gone into press saying that it is ready for production, it baffles me still, because I remember that they first showcased it, just pictures of it on March 30th. And I was convinced, like everybody else, that it's an April Fool's joke, because it just wasn't something that was, I think, ready for this century.
Right.
But they are saying that here we are going to put in production. I just still can't wrap my head around it. Maybe it's missed time. The pandemic is behind us. It's even less reason for people to wear a contraption that makes you look like a love child between Bane and some Star Wars character. But I think that for me was the weirdest gadget. I wouldn't say the worst gadget. I don't know how it's going to actually improve lives. Maybe it does. But the weirdest gadget so far for me. And in terms of what really didn't live up to expectations, I think Samsung should have really launched their quantum dot OLED televisions, because I think that's the next big thing in the TV space. And Samsung is probably the only manufacturer that makes the quantum dot OLED panels. And for them to not have a model yet in the Indian market was sort of surprising and strange. I don't know why, what strategy they're working on, but that would have really taken the competition to OLED's doors.
I can give you a
especially
little
for LG and
bit of a
Sony.
hint. The price point in India, I think, is just not going to be working out for them at that point. For instance, something that I'm very excited about is those very, very big Samsung the wall micro LED TVs, right? I was really hoping that the 140-inch and others will still not be in
240, 250
crores.
inches,
Right?
yeah, 10, 12
I mean, I was
crores,
really
yeah.
thinking that, okay, that's something that will come down to, a normal user. True. 2 years later, it's still costing more than what most apartments would be costing in this thing. So you can buy that, but you don't have a place to put it in.
We also have the LG rollable, no? 70, 75 lakhs, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, but I still feel that, the rollable will escalate downwards much quicker, but the wall is just staying where it is, and I'm really shocked because micro LED for signage and the pixel pitch has been coming down so quickly. I don't know why Samsung the wall, which is the only real
Maybe
consumer
just to
one.
keep it like, in the niche, maybe.
Yeah, so all those who can afford it, I mean, great, but you're not normal for sure. All right, so that then
Strange-
Gaurav and
strange
Nishant
because
was
Sony
sorry,
already
yeah,
has
Nishant.
No, I was just saying it's strange because Sony already uses the Samsung panel on their Master Series OLED.
Correct.
So Sony is doing it at a reasonable price point. I don't know why Samsung is not, who is producing the panel.
All right, big question for you, Samsung. Write into us and we will come back to you if we think that it's a good explanation you've given us. But other than that, I think you should get it in very quickly. Nishant may get very angry. And when he's angry, he's not a good person to trifle with. I have had that experience personally. All right, great. Thank you, Gaurav. Thank you so much, Nishant. But do remember, we have show 2. Okay, and in that we're going to be covering a lot more, including innovations of the year, trending tech, and predictions for 2023, and a lot more categories. So thank you so much, Nishant, for joining us all the way from Mumbai. Gaurav, thank you so much for coming to studio. See you in the next one.